This is the Eskute T300. This is Eskute's first venture into the electric trike market. And I gotta say right off, it looks like they've done a really good job here, but we'll find out as we get into the specs and features. And in the second video, we'll take you out for the ride in the normal test. I'm Wyoming Rider, and I review electric bikes and trikes and other electric vehicles in the most rural state in the country. So come along with me on today's adventure. Now for the unboxing. Box came in great shape. No noticeable damage to the outside of the box. And we're going to cut it open here and let's see what's inside. Looks like everything's well packaged and wrapped up in foam. I'm going to go ahead and cut the side out to make it easier to get out of there. And here's our seat. And there's a little spacer there just to protect the seat post. And here's our front basket and our accessories and our front wheel, which is a 18 by 3 inch tire. So kind of unique. And we found some extra parts on the bottom. Looks like part of the chain tensioner. And we're going to put the handlebars on so we can roll it over and put our front wheel on, our fender. But first we're going to take out the battery. This is a 10 amp hour battery, I think a 10.4. Here we go, installing that front wheel. Yep, here's the rest of the chain tensioner. Now we're getting the chain tensioner bent back into shape because it was bent up pretty bad. It's like it got beat on pretty hard in shipping. And we did get it back together and now it's working. So overall, pretty easy unboxing process. So there's a lot to cover with this trike, especially since it is a little different than most. Like I said right off, this thing is a little smaller than most of the trikes. As you can see, the frame is a little shorter, but I can still sit on it pretty comfortably, which we'll show in a little bit. But first, I want to start off with those dimensions. The dimensions of this trike are 31.3 inches by 25.2 by 20.87 inches. And it only weighs 98 pounds, which is really light for one of these trikes. And you could really tell it when you ride it too, that it is lighter than most. And man, it really gets up and goes. It only has a 48 volt, 10.4 amp hour battery, but they have a claim range of 55 miles, which I know around here, there's probably not realistic in my area because it's very hilly here and I weigh 220 pounds. So probably not going to happen here. It does have a max payload capacity of 400 pounds. And it is classified as a class 2 e-bike because it does go 18 mile an hour. And we'll test that out with the GPS to make sure that's how fast it goes, but it seems to. And it does have unique tires too. These are 18-inch wheels, so 18 by 3-inch tires, and it has a nice street pattern, which I've never seen on any of these tracks before. But really cool. And it does have metal fenders on the front and rear, which is really nice. Plastic pedals, and this track does fold right here. Handlebars, of course, don't fold, but it does fold there. This does have a waterproof rating of IP54, so just be aware of that. So you should be okay if you get caught in the rain. Should be no worries there. And this does seem to have 160 millimeter rotors on the front. And I don't know if you can see it back there, but there's also one on the rear, right in the middle. And that's honestly plenty of stopping power for the size of this trike. This comes with these mechanical brake levers, as you see, and I can't quite make out the branding on there. I think it says Repute. Never seen those before, but they seem to work quite well. Oh, got this in a better angle, so it does have parking brakes on both sides. You just push them like that. Just like that. Really simple, really easy, and it does have 2 of them, which is really nice, because not all of them have 2 of them. And next it will lead us into these huge handlebars, and they have a swept back design here. But man, these things are really nice and wide though. You can put all kinds of accessories up here. Which leads to the next part I want to show you here. It does come with these awesome mirrors, and these are really nice high quality mirrors. Because man, this is a very budget friendly trike, so it's really amazing that they give you those nice mirrors like that. And we'll get to the price in a bit. Next I wanted to show you that it does have a horn button here, and this is its little display, which we'll turn on here in a second. And here's your half twist throttle. These grips are kind of plastic, but they feel okay. And I want to say too, this cable management, they did a really good job on that. And they did route it down through the frame here, which I always like to see. And especially for the telling you the price range of this trike because it's amazing. The quality here. The seat, man, this is a really nice, comfortable seat. Really good and squishy. And it has a suspension seat post, which I'll show you here. But yeah, you can see it has this nice suspension seat post, and I'll show you what that looks like when we're sitting on it here in a little bit. It has this nice huge rear basket, and it does have a lid on it, which is really cool. And they just kind of give you this little mat that sits in the bottom, so nothing falls out down there. And then you have this nice front basket as well. Nice and sturdy. Very nice. And of course you do have this your front headlight here, and I'll show you that better in the dark because we'll do a little night ride on it. And of course that leads us to the next thing. Here's the tail light back here. The things to note is this large rear basket back here. It says it holds up to 120 pounds in that one. And I don't think it tells you how much the front one holds. But I suspect it will hold a good amount too because it's nice and sturdy. Also want to add too, the minimum seat height of the seat with that suspension seat post is 31.7 inches. So most anybody should be able to sit on this trike and ride it. And their claimed size that'll fit on here is anybody from 4'9" up to 6'2". Another thing I want to say right off about the rear fenders on this trike, as opposed to every other one that I've assembled, this is the easiest fenders I've ever had to put on. I mean, these are just super easy. Only way they could be easier if they were already on. But man, there's just like 2 little bolt holes, and I'll try to remember to put a picture up there for you. Super, super easy. And the front is just like any other bike, so those are pretty easy as well. But yeah, very easy. They did a very good job on those rear fenders. They go right on there and they're straight, and you don't have to do a lot of manipulation to them like you have to do with most of these E-Trikes. All right, so now let's take a quick look at the display here. Turn it on, you just hold that power button, and it is just like a black and white display, but this is what it looks like, and it has an E02 on it right now. That's because we have the brakes on. Turn those off, you see that will go away. Now, to do the different things here, we're starting off with our odometer. It is already set to miles, so we're good there. If you hit it once, now we're going to trip. You hit it again, it has the one thing that I really love the most on a bike, and it has the voltage. And we'll see we're right now at 53.7 volts. And it has a timer, and we're back to the odometer. Very nice. And it has 3 pass levels. You can go up with a plus or go back down with a minus. But that's pretty much all there is to the display. I don't know if there's any hidden things, but we'll more into that in a future video if that's the case. I'll probably do that in the second one. But anyway, that's the basics functions of it. An important part you need to know, and it does have a horn. Yeah, loud enough. It'll definitely not be too crazy on the trails and stuff, because that's mostly probably where you would want to ride this anyway, is like on the bike paths or in the road. So because it does have street tires, even though I have been off-roading out here in my crazy yard with it, so, and it did just fine there. But yeah, we'll test out that in the second video. All right, next I want to get to the motor here. This has a 500 watt motor, and it peaks at 1200 watts is their claim, and I assume they're probably correct because it does seem to be pretty darn powerful, that is for sure. And it does have a transaxle, so it makes the turning a lot easier. That's always a good feature in these. And it does have a normal cadence sensor and just one mechanical gear. There's no gears to change, anything like that. It's just very simple and easy. I also do want to add, as you've probably seen in my unboxing part of the video, I did run into one issue, and that was that chain tensioner on this side down here. It had gotten damaged in the box because it was just hitting the bottom of the box, and it made the sprocket come loose down there, and I had to reinstall the sprocket, which wasn't too big a deal, and it was easy enough to, I just took some channel locks and I straightened out the little pieces that you mount the sprocket on, and then everything was fine. Other than that, that's the only real trouble I had with it. I did let them know about that so they can hopefully improve that in future ones so you won't have that issue. And it could just be because the shipping company treated it poorly, but the box seemed to be in pretty good shape other than that. Just wanted to let you know about that part. I do want to add too, the only concerns I might have so far is the size of that battery. That is only a 10 amp hour battery, so I'm a little concerned with range, but like I said, we'll know for sure in the second video. And this is what it looked like sitting on the trike. So you see, and yeah, the suspension works pretty well. Not a huge amount of travel in those front forks, but it feels really nice and comfortable. So now that leads me on into giving my final verdict here of this first video and my first impressions of this thing. So far, I think it's a wonderful trike for the price. Now, I've seen two different prices on this as I was looking. So I've seen it in some places for $6.99, and I've seen it, I think its normal price is maybe $7.69, which is totally amazing for what you're getting here. I'm telling you, this is so far of all the ones I've done, this is absolutely the best deal I've seen yet. But man, this seems to be really good quality at a very low price, and it's 48 volt. It's just amazing. So yeah, so far I'm saying, man, this thing is very good for the price. But we'll get more into the performance and all that in the second video. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, so far, I think it's wonderful. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, and share this video with others. And stay tuned for that second video where I'll do all the normal tests. I'll do the hill climbs, I'll do the speed test, and I'll take it for a little off-roading even. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next one.